While the 2022-2023 football season officially ends today on Super Bowl Sunday, for many sports betting fans, college hoops in February and March is one of the most exciting times in sports. Whether you love college hoops or just want to pad your bankroll heading into March Madness, we have the perfect special. Starting today, get the rest of February with any WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper for only $149 each. So to finish off February for as little as $9 per day, head over to your favorite WagerTalk and or Sports Memo handicappers page and grab this limited time offer. This offer includes not only college basketball, but also any NBA, NHL, UFC, soccer, golf, and NASCAR that your favorite WagerTalk and or Sports Memo expert handicaps. No coupon is needed. The earlier you sign up, the more days you get.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Pressman. He is Teddy Covers. And Teddy is laughing because he was imitating my opening. So go, Teddy. Go. Give it a go.
Not at all. You did it just perfectly yourself, Lawrence. On today's show, Friday edition of Wager Talk Today, Tony Mejia is going to join us right at the top. Little NBA action. 3-point contest, slam dunk contest. Tony's going to break us down for us, as well as Yale and Penn in Ivy League action for Friday night. Ralph Michael's going to join us next. He's got a couple of charts he wants to talk about. College basketball teams with exactly 19 wins. I'm real interested to see what Ralph find in that particular niche. And he's going to look at NHL teams with no rest and what we can expect from those teams when we look at an aggregate picture. He's also going to break down San Jose State and New Mexico in college basketball for tonight. My big game breakdown, I'm looking at action in college hoops this evening. Eastern Michigan against Kent State. And, of course, the prop master, Andy Lang, going to close out the show. He's going to talk some PGA, some NBA, and an NHL shots on goal prop for tonight. We're going to talk Connor McDavid. If we get 100 likes, we'll get to Prez's presidential address to close out the show. And that's what we have for the Friday edition. Stay tuned. We're ready to rock and roll. Lawrence?
Wow, Teddy, we're ready to rock and roll, baby. So yesterday's I went 1-2 in the presidential address. Had a great week so far, but I got to bounce back for today. So make sure to give us 100 likes, everyone. And also, please subscribe to our channel. It's super important to us, and it will help you because you will get notified when our shows are happening. I went 2-2 yesterday, Teddy. Still couldn't decide what to do. I did change my track pants. They demanded a change. They actually got up in the middle of the night and walked off. Couldn't find them this morning. Or maybe Vivian just hid them on me or put them in the washing machine. But I didn't shave yet. And I'm now at that spot, Teddy, where I don't want to shave anymore. You know, I'm now sitting on the couch and all I'm doing is touching my beard. And once you get, women don't understand this because they don't sit around rubbing their hands over their unshaved legs. When a man's facial hair gets past the point of itchy, it becomes a unbelievable security blanket and a damn fun thing to play with. That's where I'm at. What about you? Because you haven't shaved in ages. Are you enjoying the touch?
No, I mean, I in the winter, I let the beard grow a little bit. And then the first day I sweat, the first day where it's like, 75 or 80 degrees, it comes off. I don't, beards are for winter in my world. And even here in Vegas, it's been a cold winter in Vegas. I know I whine and complain, and I know it's nothing like it is back east, yada, yada. And yet I look at my freaking weather app on my phone every day. It's colder here than it is in Chicago or Boston or half the country. It's been a miserable winter here, but nonetheless, this will come off when I sweat. I haven't sweated yet.
Tony Mejia joining us. And Teddy, Tony started the show offline. He was like, do I look good? Do I look okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, you look like Tony Mejia. Welcome to the show, Tony.
So, okay. I mean, like, that's fair. That's fair because I no longer am proud of what I look like. I am 30 pounds more than I should be. So let's lose that at
Tony,
some point.
You've come to the right place. because there are
You're going to shame me
harder
into
things
it?
there are harder things to fix in this world than knowing exactly, literally, exactly what you need to do to be proud of how you look. Now, I personally think you're magnificent. But if you feel like you need to lose 30 pounds, bro, it's not hard to do. Just eat less and work out more. It's that simple.
I
Just pick winners.
know the Prez is
And throw out
never
the losers.
I know the Prez is never out of tips to tell people how to lose weight, because you're always encouraging
Yeah.
people to work out. So I appreciate that.
Well, and
Prez,
you
how
know
many
what,
diets have
Tony?
you been on in your life?
No diets, Teddy. And I never
Exactly.
said to
So you know
hold
nothing
on.
about losing
I
weight.
never said to Tony to go on a diet.
Okay.
I said eat less. And frankly, that's all you got to do. You don't need to do keto. You don't need to do carnivore. You don't
Says
need to
someone who has never actually tried to lose weight in his life. So easy enough for you to pass advice.
Well, actually, I did lose weight, Teddy. I was up to 174 pounds. I'm now at 164. That's 10 pounds of weight I lost, bro. And I did it without dieting because I don't do diets, because nobody can stick to diets. All you end up doing is yo-yoing up and down. Talk about a person who's never lost weight, Teddy. You're 118 pounds and the hair on your chest covers 8 pounds of that.
Which is why I never give people dieting advice or losing weight advice. I know nothing about it, much like you. Tony, let's talk some sports.
Yeah,
All right.
Tony, let's. Well, we're going to do, you want to do the 3-point and dunk all at once? Go ahead.
All right, let's talk. Look, I think we're going to go chalk here, but chalk is not really chalk because we've got an 8-person field and your favorite is plus 425. So there's actually 2 favorites in the 3-point shootout. It's Damian Lillard and Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield has won this before. Damian Lillard went to college at Weber State, which is in Ogden, Utah. The NBA All-Star game is in Salt Lake City. And I think Damian Lillard is going to win this contest. He's averaging 4.15 3-pointers per game for the season. He has really been hot since the new year began. I mean, it hasn't resulted in Portland winning anything, but maybe it results in him winning the 3-point shootout. It's going to be an interesting contest. Lauri Markkanen is plus 700, and he's at the worst odds out of everybody. So I would throw some pizza money on Markkanen because it's his home court, but I think Damian Lillard wins. And then you wanted to talk slam dunk as well. Look, man, we've got Mac McClung, who is inserted into this thing just to win it because he's a white boy from he played at Georgetown. Probably most people know who he is, but he is in the G League. Philadelphia just signed him. He is in this to try to win this whole thing. I like Kenyon Martin Jr. The ferocity with which he attacks the rim, I think, is going to be the difference maker in this contest. And he's not 7 feet tall, which I think always goes against you in a dunk contest. Jericho Sims is in this. That's a big man. He's 6'11". He plays for the New York Knicks. Kenyon Martin Jr. is basically 6'7", but I think the Houston Rockets win something this season, and it's a slam dunk contest with Kmart Jr.
So let me ask you this right off the top. Are these 2 recommendations, is this pizza money or is this a real bet that we're making? Is this kind of let's have some action and opinion, or is this something like let's put a full unit or a couple units on?
Real money is the 5% I'm going to put out tomorrow because I don't lose 5% in a row, and I've lost 2. Like, as you know, I'm pretty good at 5%. Number 1 all time in college basketball, spreads, totals, over 150 units plus since I joined you guys. So that will be my big bet tomorrow. Yes, pizza money, obviously. But, I mean, it's still going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you've got a lot of the best 3-point shooters. Unfortunately, Steph Curry's not going to be in it. neither Klay Thompson, but you've got Dame Lillard, you've got Buddy Hield, you've got Jason Tatum, you've got Tyler Hero, Tyrese Halliburton. So I mean, there's going to be some big names in the 3-point contest. I think the 3-point contest has trumped the slam dunk contest in terms of the marquee event at All Star Weekend. I mean, nobody really cares who wins the game. LeBron is 5-0. We'll see what Giannis does. I mean, he left the game yesterday with a wrist injury. We'll see if he even plays. I think that's news that'll come later today. We'll see if he even needs to be replaced if Brunson is going to actually get a spot finally. But look, tonight we've got the celebrity game and we've got the Rising Stars Challenge, and tomorrow the 3-point shootout and the slam dunk contest. Obviously, Sunday is the NBA All-Star game. But yeah, most people are looking forward to this 3-point shootout. I like Dame Lillard.
Now, of the two, of the slam dunk contest versus a 3-point shooting contest, it feels to me like the slam dunk contest may be a little bit more handicappable. You're like, the big guys don't get the love.
Right.
Kenyon Martin is a guy who's live. McClung is a guy who's live, and the guy that wins that matchup should win the whole thing. To me, that makes a ton of sense. For 3-point shooting, every one of these guys can get hot and win. Maybe Randall. I don't know if Randall can. I feel like everyone but Randall can win that contest if they just, they get on a roll and start hitting. Is there a legit edge there with Lillard? Or is this, he's playing at his college, near his college, and it's kind of his year to win it sort of thing? Or is there something more than that?
No, I think you hit it right on the head. Is there a legit edge? No. Is this the year for him to win it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he comes in on a heater. He's been hot all 2022. His team's not very good. Anthony Simons, his teammate, had to bow out of this due to injury, so Randall is actually in his place. And I mean, this would be the year for who's the best shooter not named Steph Curry in over the last decade? Dame Lillard. So we'll see if Dame can get the job done. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you're Teddy Cover. You're spot on, brother. The handicappable thing is the slam dunk contest. If you overlook Mac McClung not winning this, it's going to be Kenyon Martin Jr.
Tony Mejia joining us, everyone. Exclusive handicapper at WagerTalk.com. He's got a 5% play up tomorrow. He's lost his last 2, but he will not lose 3 in a row. It will not happen. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Yale and Penn. I've been to both those universities. Penn's cool as shit. Total, man. Over or under? Where are you going?
Yeah, we've got to go over here. I mean, like, look, Penn's got, and the old heads, all 3 of us belong to this club. We'll probably remember Dana Dingle from UMass. He helped Marcus Camby get to the what was it, Final Four, Elite 8, something like that. It was with him and Carlos Arroyo, and they had a great backcourt. Dane Dingle was on that team. His son Jordan Dingle is one of the best scorers in the country, and plays for Penn. He's averaging 24 points per game for the Quakers, and is a really solid scorer. And these 2 teams are 2 of the top 3 in the Ivy League. Princeton has one of the best players in the actual league. You would call him Tosin E. Prez, because you won't even bother with last name. Tosin Bowman, which is spelled Evbuow. Yeah, exactly. So he is the top playmaker in the Ivy League. He's the reason why Princeton is on top of the charts there as a 7-3 squad. Yale's also 7-3, and Penn is at 6-4 with Brown. So I mean, the Ivy League is loaded this year. Really talented playmakers that make up this conference. These are 2 of them. Pace wise, it should be right there for us to get over the 143 because they're led by 2 of the most prolific scorers. I have the free play right up on my webpage at at wt.buzz/TM. So you can look at that. We're looking at game extension. We're looking to go over 143.
So when you look at the series history here, we got a whole bunch of unders. 7-2 to the under the last 9. First meeting this year, 70-63, stayed double digits under the total. Last meeting last year, double digits under the total. Does that series history concern you at all, or is that all rear view mirror stuff now? Even that first meeting between these two teams, certainly we're talking about Yale in particular. They're coming off a real good shooting game where they shoot 60% or close to it against Columbia last time out and hung 99 on them. We expecting more of the same tonight from Yale, or is that series history one of those things maybe you tap the brakes a little?
Yeah, you got to tap the brakes because I don't think Penn has been quite as bad on defense as they have been this year. Their defensive rating is at a 104.3, and Yale's is at 90. But Yale's offensive rating is at 112.3. Penn's is at 108.5. As far as pace goes, both of them are averaging over 67 possessions a game. We're going to have to get game extension, but at the same time, like, these are two teams that really have talent on the offensive end. So I think we'll get a high scoring game out of this.
Tony Mejia, everyone. Tony, we've talked about your 5% play. It goes tomorrow. What else is going on?
5% play tomorrow. I had a bunch of plays last week. I like to release a bunch on Saturdays. I've actually laid off this whole week. I don't trust kids during Valentine's Day week, and I don't trust NBA players right before All-Star games. So I have limited volume, period, this week. Hit a bad beat yesterday, under 223, and Teddy will have no forgiveness for me on this because I missed the best of the number. It was at 224 when it started. But Clippers Suns ended on a bucket from Chris Paul with like 14 seconds left that hit the over at 223, and I was at under 222. So
well,
1-1 last night.
Welcome to betting, bro. Welcome to betting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Tony,
I've been here.
How young is your youngest kid?
My oldest, my youngest is 8.
Okay, so I will send all your kids a massive box of amazing toys when you lose 30 pounds. And I mean like hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of toys.
Okay. That's fair because I can lose 30 pounds and I want to lose 30 pounds. So that's wonderful. I want to lose 30 pounds by meet and greet. So that'll work out.
Okay, I'll bring it down to the meet and greet. Play this for your kids so they know. So they hold you accountable. Tony Mejia, everyone.
I actually don't eat a lot. I think it's just, I mean, like, I've had a bunch of injuries. I had an Achilles and all that stuff, but all that is excuses. You're absolutely right. Let's do it. Let's win.
Okay, we're going to keep on you, Tony. Get out of here, brother. Teddy covers! How'd you do last night?
I had one play and I won it.
Nice.
I'll take it.
I went to
what I learned last night.
Oh, well, go ahead. Nobody cares about me. It's all about you, dude. Your show.
You have plenty of time on the show to share all your thoughts and feelings about everything that's going on. This is my chance to share my thoughts and feelings about what's going on. You talk about what bettors learn. Look, one thing about this job, it's truth of it. It's grueling. Okay, you don't get days off. You don't get weekends off, even on vacation, which I don't take very often. But Lawrence, watching games, handicapping every day. Football season ends, March Madness on deck, which is another grueling 3-week stretch. It's a natural downtime in the year, a chance to breathe for a day or two. I got married, NBA All-Star break, for a reason. Just after the Super Bowl, chance to take a little break for a couple of days, rest up for the next grueling stretch, spend a little time with my wife. And then the NFL went to a 17-game season and pushed the Super Bowl back a week, which pushed the NBA All-Star break back a week. The best laid plans of mice and men ruined. So I literally planned my wedding around getting this little break right here. And then the Super Bowl got pushed back a week and the NBA All-Star got pushed back a week. And that's what happened. So I'm going to take a couple days early next week. Monday and Tuesday, while NBA is still down, I'll spend a little bit of time with the wife. I'll keep her happy. And we'll come back on Wednesday, rock and roll. So take breaks when you need them. Take breaks when they naturally occur. This is a grueling business. You need mental R&R. You need physical R&R. This is one of those weeks for what it's worth. That's what I learned last night, Lawrence. Back to you.
Well, dude, welcome to the club. I mean, I'm not one for I am one for knowing when to take breaks. I woke up this morning from a text from the great, the wonderful, the incredibly talented Johnny Detroit, and he literally wrote, NBA All-Star break is through next week. When do you leave again? I have a hard time keeping up with all your trips. That's the type of life you want to lead right there, Teddy, when your friends and your partners and your loved ones don't even know when you're going away because you go away so often. Anyway,
I don't like to do that. When I'm in season, I can't do that. You found a way. And you found a way to work when you're on vacation. When I'm taking a break, I don't want to sit for 3 hours and start going through games. And then, all right, let's write them up. Let's work on a promo. Okay. No, I need to take a break. And that's what the next, we'll get a chance to do that early next week.
You know, the craziest thing is when I go away, I tend to do even better. I mean, this past week trip, I went away. I won every day but one. I went on a 16-4 run while I was away. So I don't know. Maybe things go better for me when I'm away. Ralph Michaels joining us. How are you, Ralph?
Tony was talking about being cute. I was called cute. It might have been about 58 years ago, but I was still called cute once in my life. So I understand that thought process.
Well, I'm just going to leave that hanging in the air, Ralph, if that's okay. So how you been?
I got to jump in, Lawrence, because Brian Leonard used to was Ralph's. You guys were roommates, right? But like back in the 80s or something, you and Brian.
Yeah, I met Brian probably 15 or 16 years old working at Pizza Hut, and then in the early 20s we were roommates for a few years.
So the stories Brian tells about Ralph back in the day is Ralph being like this handsome guy and all the girls loved him and all of that. It's like there was something there. There's still something there. You just lost the hair.
Yeah.
Okay, Teddy. Are we done?
I had hair. I was skinnier. I had a nice house with a jacuzzi. Yeah, it's easier to find girls that way.
Yeah, why don't you come over to my house for a jacuzzi? Was that the line?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, doesn't remember. Where is this show gone? Ralph Michaels, you got a chart? 2 of them. I can't wait to hear about the NHL one. I'm fascinated. The first one is looking at college basketball teams with 19 wins. I'll hand the mic to you, my friend.
You know, no matter what we talk about in college basketball, different teams have different goals. Some are national championships, some are to win their conference and get to the big dance. But there's still value to being a 20-win team. So I wanted to look at how teams do when they get to 19 wins and what happened in the previous game. So if we could see the chart, there's 2 parts. The first part is just this. If you have 19 wins, overall, teams have covered 49%. Again, there's a lot of differences. A team could be on a 1, 2, 3, 4 game win streak to try to get to 20, or like New Mexico, who we'll talk about in a minute, maybe 19-3 have lost 4 games. So home teams with 19 wins, 50.7%, still just barely under the Mendoza line. Away teams, 46%. But when I broke down what those teams did previously, I found some interesting data. So the chart is 3 parts. The top part is just how teams do overall home and away with 19 wins. The 2 in the orange brown are teams with 19 wins that lost their last game. And the bottom part are teams with 19 wins that won their home game. So look at all that red and look at the green or the white. If teams lost their last game as a home favorite and now have 19 wins, they are only 40.6%. That is like New Mexico tonight. Teams that lost their previous game as a home dog, now 43%. Teams that lost their last game straight up as an away favorite, 48%. The only positive situation, teams that lost as an away dog have actually gone 45.8%. And we look at with teams off a win, teams that won their last game to get 19, off a win as a home favorite a negative, off a win as a home dog a negative, off a win as a away favorite a negative, and off a win as an away dog pulling the upset, you're basically still a negative, just a percent under the break-even point.
So basically, what this chart is telling us is look to bet against teams with exactly 19 wins. If you've done that against the New Mexico Lobos, the team you mentioned, they've now lost, 4 in a row since getting to 19. Yeah. So you've gotten not one ticket, you cashed 4 tickets against New Mexico. Is that, am I missing something? Is that the basic premise here, that a 19-win team, that hurdle of the 20th win can be a big hurdle to climb and it becomes a bet against spot?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at those situations, the only time you don't want to bet against them, Teddy, is if they were an away dog their previous game. Off a previous away dog, you're just about 500. Off a loss as an away dog, you're 54%. So excluding off a game as an away dog, yes, absolutely, it's a play against, and those numbers are actually strong. And I didn't bring this up, but as Tony was talking, your follow-up question, Teddy, or you would say, we're going to guess what Teddy would say, is, you know what, Rolf? Next week, I want to know what happens when a team gets their 20th win. Is there a letdown spot? Well, there hasn't been. And listen to this one spot I found. It's been about a 50% play, so there hasn't been a letdown. But when you have 20 wins and you're off a road win, and now you're on the road again, and we talk all the time, if you're in the NBA or NHL, when you're on the road, it's more of a business trip. Same in college basketball. When you're taking these road trips and conferences, you're likely playing back-to-back road games. You're staying at hotels. You're much more regimented. You're not spending time with your friends. But when a team wins their 20th win, this goes all the way back to 2012. They won their last game on the road, and they're on the road again, like Santa Clara is tomorrow against Portland. Those teams are 62.3% against the spread. So keep an eye on Santa Clara tomorrow. They got their 20th win last game on the road, and they're on the road again this week.
Ralph Michaels joining us. Roger Long writes, now girls just want to know how big your bank account is. So cheesy. Roger, as opposed to what men want? I don't know, man. I think male criteria is even cheesier. Ralph Michaels, let's keep moving. San Jose State -1.5 at New Mexico. College hoops tonight. What is the play?
Well, again, we just talked about New Mexico being a negative spot off a loss as a favorite. San Jose State in another great 68% spot. They're off back-to-back wins as a dog in a tightly contested game. So we have a negative situation for New Mexico, a positive situation for San Jose State. Now, I will say this. If I knew for New Mexico that Jalen House was out, he may be the best player in the Mountain West. He's their point guard. He's missed their last 2 games. What has New Mexico done in those 2 games he's gone? I'll tell you what, they were embarrassed, losing to Fresno State at home, losing to Air Force on the road and losing to Wyoming, the last place team at home. So they've played horribly without him. He is a game time decision. I like San Jose State anyway. This would be 5-star worthy if we get the word that Jalen House is not out.
Wow.
San Jose State is the tallest team in the conference, one of the tallest teams in the country. They play packed down defense. They're negative. They make a lot of turnovers, and they don't shoot the 3 well. Well, that's not a hindrance for when you're playing New Mexico, because of all the 363 teams, New Mexico is number 350 in the percentage of 3-point shots they take. So New Mexico State doesn't shoot threes, so that doesn't hurt San Jose's negative tonight. So color me Spartans tonight, minus the points, and it would be much stronger if we get the word that Jalen House doesn't make the trip, missing his 3rd straight game.
Ralph, me, Andrew, Carmine, a whole bunch of us, we live, sleep, breathe, eat NHL hockey. One of the biggest angles that most people always talk about are these back-to-back games. Are their legs tired? They put in a backup goaltender. Is that a great spot to bet? You've done a chart on that. I can't wait to see it. I am fully going to pay attention right now.
Well, Prez, let me ask you this. First off, in the NHL, I enjoy looking at NHL situations. I do not know the players. I do reading, but again, it's me handicapping situations in the NHL, and I'll clearly admit I am not a huge fan. I watch occasional games, and I am not an astute handicapper knowing players. But how many times does it ever happen that a goalie plays back-to-back games if it's not the playoffs? To me, 95% of the time, I think you're playing your secondary goalie. So that's part of this. So let's show the first part of this chart. This is just the last 4 years, teams playing with no rest. It doesn't matter if they're home. It doesn't matter if they're away. Obviously, you look at the profit year by year. You're negative, you're negative, you're negative, you're negative. More importantly, when we talk NHL and baseball, return on risk is the best number to look at because depending on the average line, Carm asked me today for puck time, what's the record of NHL teams laying 400 or more? Well, I tell you 16-4 this year. So 16-4 for the general public is going to say, wow, that's good. If you're laying an average line of minus 400 and you're 16-4, you've actually lost money this year. So look at the return on risk way to the right, minus 2.9, minus 7.9. The last 2 years, minus 13.9% and minus 9.8%. So clearly a 45% record with an average line of plus 105.9, you're down 157 units over the last 4 years playing on an NHL team with no rest.
Teddy?
So here's my question, Ralph. We know what it's like to fade these teams. Can we make money backing their opponents? When you're talking about the juice factor in the equation, is it profitable to blindly fade teams on back-to-backs in the NHL? I know it's not profitable to back them, but can we make money fading?
There is a profit. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as this looks bad. And really, if you look return on investment, when you have a return on investment of over 4%, then if you're betting the opposite and you're laying that juice, it still is a positive to fade them. We're looking at an average line of plus 105.9 at bottom last 4-year figure, which means the average line in the NHL, they use a 20-cent line on the database I'm using. So it's minus 114.1 would be the average line. It is a reasonable expectation if you have a 10-cent line. It's much closer to the Mendoza line if you have a 20-cent NHL line. So that's depending on the value you find with the book you're playing with.
So Ralph, the end result is that we don't want to be playing on these teams on back-to-backs. That's key. But it's not necessarily massively profitable to fade them. The better off, if you're going to play the game, you leave the guy on the second of back-to-backs alone, but you're not going to profitably bet against these teams blind. Correct?
Well, Teddy, let me say this. How about we hold off that question for 1 second when we look at the second part of the chart, bringing detailed situations into play where there are some situations to leave alone and there are some situations to play.
Let's bring it
and
up.
There we go. Our producer's on the back. So let me explain this. There's a lot of eye candy there, and I don't want to overwhelm you. I will put this chart on Twitter at CalSportsLV as soon as I'm done, so you can take all the time you want looking at it. But the chart is basically 3 parts. If you look at it, it's divided by the blue headings. The first are NHL away teams with no rest. The middle blue section, NHL home teams with no rest. And the bottom section is an NHL team with both teams with no rest. So let's look at that top third. NHL away teams with no rest. The first heading is a second straight away game. And you take a look, the last 4 years, if you're playing back-to-back road games, you're minus 10.1% return on investment. Check the middle of that away. Rest equals 0, season greater than 2018 and away, and your previous game is an away win. That is the situation, Teddy, that is profitable to play against. So if you have an NHL team that is on the road with no rest, that is often a away win, that is a 44% play and a minus 12.4 return on investment. Let's look at the home situations. Home for a second straight game, you're down 35 units, 48%. Home off a home win, you're basically 54.8%, but with an average line of minus 149, you're still minus 4.7%. So surprisingly, the bottom part, the sample size isn't as big. There's only 130 games in the last 4 years, but teams at home with no rest off a home loss are minus 15.7% return on investment. So the two situations to fade: teams on the road with no rest off an away win, and surprisingly, fade a home team with no rest off a home loss. The bottom section, I just wanted to take a look. When both teams have no rest, one team is off a loss as a favorite, the other team is off a win as a dog. That team off a loss as a favorite has at 66% plus 13.2% on investment. So that is a play on, and it's a good situational play. We look at a team off a loss as a favorite with no rest versus a team off a win as a dog with no rest. Play that team off a loss as a favorite.
Yeah, Ralph Michaels. Awesome stuff, man. We love having you on. What do you got to promote?
I'm still working on today's card. I do want to let everyone a programming note. Brand new starting today. Bet on It Hoops is starting. Kelly, Marco, and Andy Lang will be involved. He's coming up next, I believe. That'll be every Friday moving forward through March Madness. Nice. We'll be filming it in a few hours, so make sure you check that out. Follow me on Twitter at CalSportsLV, and I will post the NHL chart and the 19 wins chart on Twitter at CalSportsLV.
There you go. Ralph Michaels, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Ralph. Teddy, no commercial break again. We're running late again, but hey, man, this has been a fascinating show. Your big game breakdown coming up now, and supposedly in the Slack channel, Chris Allen wrote he's very excited about it. So give it to us.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk about the only write-in game on the college hoop schedule today. That's Eastern Michigan and Kent State. Note the early start for this game. 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm seeing Kent, let's call them minus 17.5 at home. Total 146.5, 147. Eastern Michigan made my clients and I a bunch of money in recent weeks. We've been riding that team. All right. And look, when you find a team that played like a bottom, they were 4-15 straight up, 5-13 ATS, and they found a spark. It's not like this team has no talent. They have Amoni Bates. He was the former #1 recruit in the country, the kind of kid that goes to Kentucky, goes one and done, and goes to the NBA. He's playing in Ypsilanti this year. All right. Things took a long time to get together for this squad, and they found a little magic way under the radar. They hung tough with Toledo, a MAC powerhouse, wire-to-wire cover. They lost by only 5 as 20. They followed it up with a road win at Miami, plus 5.5. A home dog, straight up double-digit win at plus 8.5 as well. They lost by one to Ball State on the road in overtime, a cover there. They lost at Buffalo, hung 97 on the Bulls, another cover. They had their rematch with Toledo, hung tough and lost again, another cover. They were losing. Okay, now they lost to their arch rivals. They lost a close game to Ball State. They lost the game to Buffalo. They lost, and that momentum, it came and it went. Last time out versus Akron, a complete no-show, 78-51. Bates' numbers are way down the last couple of games. He's gassed. The next time we look at Eastern, if they don't hang tough tonight, probably going to be in the MAC tourney opener. This is a team that found a little magic. It came. Now it's gone. Meanwhile, Kent, 3 straight blowout wins, 87-64 cover versus Bowling Green, an 82-58 cover versus Western Michigan. They're surging right now. They beat them by only a little in Ypsilanti in January, 14, by 19 at home last year. I would expect them to win this game by 20 plus tonight. If I'm playing, I'm laying. We rode Eastern Michigan. We're done with that ride. Kent State tonight, minus the points against the Eagles. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Awesome stuff. Don't really know why Chris Allen was so excited about that. Maybe he's going to the game. Listen, I mean, I thought it was exciting. It was high-level excitement. I'm actually trying to calm down from the excitement of that big game breakdown. Andy was doing jumping jacks. It was so joyful. Andy Lang, everyone, in his nice, bright red shirt. How are you, my friend? We have no volume from Andy Lang. Andy.
I am not mute. Am I good now? Okay,
No, you're still Andy Lang. That's twice I got that stupid joke in.
Got me.
Boom, boom, bam.
Well, if that breakdown didn't get you excited, wait till I break down this round 2 golf matchup, Prez.
Well, yeah, Taylor M versus Taylor M. Andy, before we get into that, XFL, are you going to be handicapping it? Do you know anything about it and take any game with June Jones to the over?
No, I'm not going to be handicapping XFL. I'll watch it a little bit, but we're doing so good in the sports that we're handicapping now. I really don't want to extend, anything else and stretch myself too thin. So things are going really well. So we'll just stick to what we know best and keep rolling with these sports.
Brother, I'm 4 episodes into Full Swing on Netflix. It is the golf version of the Formula One Drive to Survive. It is not nearly as well packaged as the Formula One. I felt exactly the same about the other one. I can't remember what it was.
Tennis.
The tennis one was nowhere near. The tennis one was ridiculous. They didn't explain a damn thing. They didn't talk about how you get an ATP point, what it means. Teddy's saying that we're running out of time. I can see it in his face. Why am I going on? So let's get back to golf. Taylor M versus Taylor M. Which Taylor M is the right Taylor M to bet?
All right, I can't wait for Teddy's follow-up question on this. Okay, so yes, we have two guys named Taylor. Taylor Moore versus Taylor Montgomery, and this is for round 2 of the Genesis. This starts here in about an hour and a half, so you can still play this one. So Montgomery was a really good bet-on player for us early in the year, and incredible start to the season, but I saw some red flags 2 tournaments ago. The last round, he started missing fairways. His approach shots were really off. So sure enough, last week, he missed the cut at the Waste Management, and yesterday did not go well for him. He's +2. He was 127th tee to green. He was missing fairways. He was missing greens. His round could have been way worse, but he holed out a long eagle on the first hole. The other Taylor Moore, who we're betting on, so we're taking Taylor Moore. He was -1 yesterday. He was better in driving stats. He was better hitting his fairways. He was better hitting the greens. And when we see these golfers who are really good, and then all of a sudden something changes, maybe they have something, an injury they're not talking about with a wrist or a back, or maybe they just lose a little bit on their swing, we get a really small window to fade these guys until the books catch up. So Taylor Montgomery started off hot. He's a fade right now. So give me Taylor Moore over Taylor Montgomery. You can play this now. It starts here in about an hour and a half.
Taylor Moore over Taylor Montgomery. I have no follow-up that I can give you on that will make any sense to anyone but myself. So we have to move on to the next game. And that is our next bet that you recommend. And this is an interesting one for me. And I'm going to argue with you about this one when all said and done, because I have a very different opinion about this team than it feels like everybody wants to fade the Dallas Mavericks right now. Oh my God, they got another superstar with Luka. Therefore, they suck. Oh, people don't like Kyrie personally. There's a lot of animosity towards Kyrie personally, much like there is towards LeBron. There's like people don't like the guy. And sometimes there's value with guys that people don't like personally. They're really good. Everyone's telling me Dallas stinks. Dallas can't do anything. Dallas over the second half. What are they doing? They mortgage their future. You too are having come that same opinion. Dallas isn't any good. Dallas, we want to fade them. Talk about how and why you want to fade the Mavericks.
Well, so part of it is fading Dallas, but also this number that the books put up, I think, is just very, very ambitious for them. So we're going to take their season win total under 45.5. They have 31 wins right now, so they need to win 15 games, and they have 3 games against San Antonio, 2 against Charlotte, 2 against Indiana. But then their schedule gets tougher. They play Memphis 3 times, who Memphis is really struggling right now, but they should get Steven Adams back. Then they get Philly twice, Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, Phoenix, New Orleans, the new look Lakers. And Teddy, I understand they have the dynamic scores, but since the trade, and it's a very small sample size, it's only 4 or 5 games, I believe. They're 21st in defense, 22nd in rebounding. I just don't like trusting these teams that can't play defense, especially on the perimeter. They have a stretch where they play 13 games, 10 of them are on the road. I just think this trying to get 15 wins after the All-Star break is a lot to ask with this defense. I think it's just going to be too easy to score on this team. They're going to have to work way too hard on offense to try and outscore every team. I think they come up a little bit short on this 45.5 wins total.
Sure. So Dallas is 31-29 right now, which means they have 22 games to go, and they have to go 15-7 to go over that total. So certainly that does sound a little bit ambitious, even though I think the Mavs are an undervalued commodity in the markets. I'm not going to talk you out of this one. Good points, Andy Lang. Let's talk about the NHL shots on goal prop for tonight. Connor McDavid, what are we going to do with him?
Well, this is the time of year where we really, really start to ramp up our volume on shots on goal props. I'm low volume in every sport. This is the one exception. Last year, from this time period till the end of the season in NHL, we were up 81 units just on shots on goal props. So now is when you start seeing now is when you start seeing these guys shine, and you can really take advantage. And Connor McDavid is just absolutely money on his shots on goal prop. McDavid has played 17 games in 2023. He has 91 shots on goal in those 17 games. He's gone over this total in 15 of those 17 games. He's playing the Rangers. The Rangers are good on the season in shots allowed, but they've allowed 29 shots on goal in 3 straight games. This is a time of year where you take these big names because they're pushing for better seeding in the playoffs. And once we get in the playoffs, you're going to see these stars hit their overs night after night. So Connor McDavid, Draisaitl on this team are going over their shots on goal darn near every night. So now is a great time to start looking at these shots on goal props. We had 6 last night. We went 5-1. So you can already see that our success has started. So I'm super excited about what the rest of the NHL season brings. We got our NHL pack up right now, and this is one of them that's included. Connor McDavid over 3.5 shots on goal.
Andy Lang. Awesome, dude. So Teddy is not around on Monday and Tuesday. Normally Steve Merrill sits in, but I actually personally called Andy and said, Andy, I really want to do the show with you, man. We're going to have a lot of fun on Monday. We won't have Teddy's miserable face looking at us. We won't have Teddy being like, it'll just be a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. And Dan Newber, our producer, he wants to make a bet on Tuesday. He likes the over on how many times Steve Merrill says long-term approach and diversify your portfolio. So Teddy, do you want to give a line out, and Dan and I will make that bet?
Those two combined, diversify your portfolio and long-term approach, over under 3.5.
3.5. So Dan, you're good with the over. I'll take the under on that. Dan thinks it was a great number, but he is still on the over. Andy, what do you got to promote, brother?
5% UFC plays up. We're 12-3 run on those. Like I said, we've been doing good in pretty much all sports. Yeah. So I like to tell people what we're running hot in. Looks like we're going on a nice run in NHL. So I encourage everyone to jump on board with that. UFC is running good. We got a 5% play for that tomorrow. We're running, obviously, no NBA plays, but golf. We've turned a profit in every single golf tournament this year. Every single one, all 6 of them. So we're finishing up golf plays this weekend. But for now, what are we running best in? NHL, UFC. Go grab those at WagerTalk.com.
Andy, I played golf last night with 3 of my friends. We made a bet all three of them against me for the cost of the golf. If one of them beat me, I paid for everybody's golf. If I beat them all, they paid only for mine. So they were getting 3-1, 4-1 odds. We allowed 8 mulligans, and the mulligans became the best part of the entire event because we're in VR, right? It's in a virtual reality booth. And it became the strategy of when to use the mulligans. That ended up being the key part of the entire thing. Booyah. I had free golf last night.
8 mulligans?
Well,
that is quite a few mulligans. Good Lord.
Well, we're not playing outdoors. We changed the rules.
8 mulligans.
It was like that. But actually, it was only 6. We're gonna do 8.
Oh, don't change the number now.
6. No. It was 6 mulligans, but we are moving it to 8 because the strategy of when to use the mulligans became the absolute most crucial part of the entire event.
You get one mulligan in you get one in 18 holes. One mulligan.
You know what? I'll give you 6 mulligans on Monday. See you then. Get out of here, brother.
Take it easy, guys.
Teddy, it's time. Daily presidential address. Let's go, Danielson. All right. It's time for the daily presidential address. I'm Lawrence Presman. I got 2 NHL bets for you guys tonight. We've had a great week in the presidential address, but we did go 1-2 yesterday, so we have a nice bounce back opportunity today. Before we get into that, I want to let everyone know I do have a 4% NHL total tonight. There is no play, not even my 5% plays are more consistent than my 4% NHL total bets. They are the strongest play I have, period. I am on a 34-11 run in these 4% NHL totals. 34 wins, 11 losses. I also have 1 college basketball ATS bet. I'm on a 25-10 run in that. And I am still the number 1 hoops expert over at WagerTalk.com this season. Marco is creeping up on me. He is like 5 units behind. The co-founders are going to duel. Okay, your 2 bets for tonight. We had Eddie Lang come on and talk about over the total in the Connor McDavid prop. I like Edmonton tonight. They're minus 134, and they are playing the New York Rangers. New York Rangers, one of the hottest teams in all of hockey. It's a bad spot for them. The Oilers came off a terrible loss against Detroit 2 nights ago. Great spot for them. Take the Oilers minus 134. And Dallas and Minnesota under the total of 5.5. I will be playing Dallas games under all year from here on in. I think we see a 3-1 hockey game. That's it for me. Teddy, have a wonderful couple of days off. I know you're going skiing with your boy. It's going to be amazing. I'm jealous. Enjoy, and we'll see you on Wednesday, my brother.
Yeah, it's not good skiing though. It's a skiing right outside of Vegas. You know, it's not. We're not going to be Whistler. You know what I mean?
Time with your son, dude.
It is. Yes.
And your son is like
for the
10
week.
times better than you.
And you as well. That's going to wrap it for the week here at Wager Talk today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend with Prez and I and all the Wager Talk crew. We'll do it again on Monday and each and every weekday, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you at East. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all of your wagers.
While the 2022-2023 football season officially ends today on Super Bowl Sunday, for many sports betting fans, college hoops in February and March is one of the most exciting times in sports. Whether you love college hoops or just want to pad your bankroll heading into March Madness, we have